let's just recap some of the key findings that are, as we say, still emerging. The report finding no significant fault with the plane or its engines. Rather, the focus is here in the cockpit, in particular on the pilots, and what happened to those fuel control switches. The report says flight record data shows both switches, normally used to turn the engines on or off when on the ground, were moved, as we heard, from the run to the cut-off position shortly after takeoff, that causing both engines to lose thrust. It says, as we've heard, one of the pilots is heard asking the other why he did the cut-off. The other pilot, says the report, responded that he hadn't. Well, let's talk to our correspondent, Theo Leggett. You've been looking through these details as they emerged. Explain more, then, about the role of these fuel switches.
Well, these are two switches which are on the central console of the cockpit, and their job, as we've already heard, is to turn the engines on when the aircraft is on the ground and turn them off again once it's landed. Now, they would not normally be used when the aircraft's in the air. There are some exceptions to that. For example, if there's been an engine failure or an engine fire, you want to cut off the fuel supply to that engine and make sure that it's not going to cause any further problems, but that is rare. Now, what we have here is information from the flight data recorder, which shows quite conclusively that those switches, both of them, were in the cutoff position, and that one of the pilots, we don't know which one, noticed this was the case and asked the other pilot why they had turned those switches into the opposite position, into the cutoff position. That's what we know at the moment. We don't know what the intentions were of whichever pilot pushed those switches into the cutoff position. All we know is that this happened. Now, the focus of the investigation going forward will be on why. Was the confusion in the cockpit at the time? It's a very harsh environment when something is going wrong shortly after takeoff. It may be that one of the pilots made a mistake, or there may be some other motive. All we have now is those bald facts that these switches, which are incidentally designed not to be used accidentally, it's a two-step process to turn them from the run to the cutoff position, why those switches were moved. Because we know now that in all likelihood, this is what brought the plane down. Once the engines had been switched off, they started reducing thrust, bringing thrust back, which the pilot, at least one of the pilots, was trying to do, takes time, and they simply didn't have enough time.